Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Welcome back. And those of you that are new, welcome. From CNN Politics. Political mood tilts in Republicans' favor with economy inflation top of the mind 3 weeks from midterms. Top of the mind seems to be the new term. And my response to that is, yeah, by Jennifer Augusta, CNN polling director. That must be a crappy job this year. Let's read on. The economy and inflation are the dominant issues 3 weeks out from the midterm congressional elections, challenging Democrats' chances of maintaining control of Congress. I mean, chances of maintaining. It's a matter by how much. What doesn't mean that conservative people, Republicans, should stay home. We have to make sure this is just a total tsunami, a political tsunami, a red tsunami, according to the string of new polls released in the last few days. Widespread impressions of the economy as bad and worsening, combined with dissatisfaction with President Joe Biden and the way things are going in the country, suggested the nation's overall political mood, which had been somewhat more favorable for Democrats following the Supreme Court overturning Roe v. Wade, may be tilting more in Republicans' favor. Well, let's take a look at what Americans actually care about. Well, let's take a look. This is a Harvard-Harris poll, so it's going to be a little skewed to the left, to be sure. But look at this. Inflation, 37%. Economy jobs, 29%. Immigration, 23%. Crime and drugs, 18%. Abortion, number 5 at 17. And here's the funny one. January 6th is the most important issue, too. Wait for it. 7% of the registered voters. Now, here's the important thing. You see on the bottom there, generic bailing with LVs, which means likely voters, not registered voters. I've ran a lot of local elections in upstate New York. I'm a former city council member in the early 2000s, and I'm telling you that it's quite a huge difference between registered voters and likely voters, especially in an off year like the midterms. I would say probably less than half of the registered people actually vote in a non-presidential year. That's just the statistics that have held true for decades. So that's what people really care about. So the Democrats are freaking clueless. They don't have any idea what the American people really care about. The CBS News YouGov survey released Sunday finds 65% of voters feel the economy is getting worse, and 68% say the Biden administration could be doing more to combat inflation. What could they be doing more to combat inflation? They'd have to admit they were wrong. And that's never, ever, ever going to happen. It's their policies and practices and putting trillions of dollars in the economy that caused this inflation. In order for them to correct it or at least slow it down, they're going to have to go against what they've already done. And they won't do it. The New York Times Siena College poll released Monday, 64% of likely voters say the United States is heading in the wrong direction, with the economy 26% and inflation 18%, the only issues named in double-digit shares of by likely voters. Yeah. Unbelievable. With other issues at 8% or less, and 70% of registered voters say they're dissatisfied with the way things are going in the U.S. today. 70%. You get a 70% consensus on anything in the United States? That's huge. Here's the one that's really important. The Times Siena poll finds Republican congressional nominees 49% support to 45% for Democrats among likely voters. Well, you're saying, John, that's only 4%. That's not a big deal. There's one thing that people don't even know about. The last, say, 50-odd years, when the Democrats in a generic ballot pick either Democrat or Republican in a midterm election, if the Democrats are up by 5% in the generic poll, the Republicans take the House. That's just the way it goes for polling. a generic poll will do that because they're going to major cities with higher amounts of Democrats. And that's where the polling comes from. So think about that for a minute. If the Democrats are up 5% in a generic poll, they lose the House majority. And right now, it looks like Republicans are up 4%. That's almost a 10% swing. That is huge. A new CNN poll of polls average finds an even divide in generic ballot polling, with the Democrat and Republican nominees holding 46% among voters in the new poll of polls. If they're even, that means the Republicans are going to slaughter them. Because if the Dems are up by 5%, they still lose. 3 of the 5 polls included in the average were reporting amongst likely voters. A fourth from Fox News, which showed Democrats at 44% to Republicans 41% among the registered voters, finds a 47% Republican to 46 Democratic split among those they say certain how they'll vote this fall. You can read the rest of the article. A CNN poll released last week found that 9 in 10 registered voters called the economy important to their vote. That's 90%. Americans never agree on anything at 90%, ever. Shows you how clueless, how totally clueless the Democrats really are. And I'll scroll through this slowly if you want to stop the video and read it. The CNN poll opposed an average of 5 most recent nonpartisan national surveys of either registered or likely voters. Now, likely voters is the one. And so there you have it. And they give you the dates when it was conducted. It's the likely voters that polls that matter, not registered. Even CNN, whether they land the groundwork for a midterm destruction of the Democrat Party, are they slowly giving out negative things up until the midterms just to get the progressive Democrats, the cult members, trying to get them ready for bad news? We'll have to see. But this is very, very good news. Now, we're going to have some more October surprises. Those of you that say, well, you know what? I'm a conservative person and I'm going to stay home. Republicans are going to win anyway. Do not do that. We need to send an overwhelming message. Now, will any of the people in the Democratic Party wake up? Maybe some will. Once they lose the majority and they can act more independently, who knows? But it's the Senate, I think, is not so much a coin toss, but it's going to be closer than it should be because the vast majority of senators in this cycle are Republicans defending seats. And in 2 years, for the presidential year and the congressional year, the third of the senators that are up for re-election are mostly Democrats defending. It's much, much harder to be on defense on most all of your seats than it is in current years. So Republicans are doing well to pick up. My guess, honestly, I predicted a net 31 seat gain in the House and a plus 3 seat net gain in the Senate. In other words, 53-47 in the Senate in Republicans' favor. Might be 52, but I have a little optimism biased. So even CNN is laying the groundwork to get people prepared for the end days. The MAGA Republicans are moving in. It is the end of democracy. It is the end of the republic. Yeah, whatever. They're getting them ready. And like the lady that was on her knees, the famous video that when she's screaming when Trump was sworn in, she just sits there and says, oh, no, oh, no. Well, there's going to be a lot of heads exploding. So any of your progressive Democrat friends, when all this comes down and their heads start to explode, just make sure you're not near them. You don't want to get the mess on you. Until next time, goodbye and good luck.